The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like trapped insects as I smoothed my blazer for the third time. My palms were sweating. Not the kind of nervous sweat you get before a normal interview. This was different, deeper, like my body knew something my mind hadn't figured out yet. Double quotes, Ms. Carter. The receptionist's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. She wore a smile that didn't reach her eyes, the kind you perfect after years of greeting strangers in corporate America. They're ready for you now. Conference room B, second door on your left. I stood, my heels clicking against the polished floor. The hallway stretched before me, impossibly long. Framed photos lined the walls, company events, team celebrations. The CEO shaking hands with someone I vaguely recognized from the news. Everything looked normal, boring, even. That should have been my first clue. The job posting had been straightforward. Enough. Data analyst, government contracts, division. Nothing flashy. The kind of position thousands of people apply for every day across America. Good benefits. Decent salary. A chance to finally leave my soul-crushing retail management job behind. I'd sent my resume on a Wednesday. They called me Thursday morning. That should have been my second clue. I pushed open the door to conference room B. 3 people sat at the far end of a long table. 2 men in identical navy suits, 1 woman in charcoal gray. They looked like they'd been ordered from the same catalog. Professional, polished, forgettable. Emily Carter, the woman, stood first, extending her hand. Her grip was firm, calculated. I'm Sarah Mitchell, Director of Operations. This is Robert Chen and James Davidson, our senior analysts. The men nodded but didn't stand. Robert had kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. James looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. Please, sit. I lowered myself into the chair across from them, hyper-aware of every movement. The leather squeaked. The sound echoed in the too quiet room. Sarah slid a folder across the table. My resume sat on top, covered in handwritten notes and yellow highlighter marks. They'd studied it, really studied it. Your background is impressive, she began, her voice smooth as silk. 7 years in retail management, bachelor's in economics from Penn State, volunteer work with data literacy programs in underserved communities. I nodded, trying to remember how to breathe normally. But I'm curious about something. She leaned forward slightly. There's a 6-month gap here, between your previous position and your current one. September 2022 to March 2023. My stomach tightened. I took time off. Personal reasons. Family health issues. It wasn't exactly a lie. My sister had been sick. But that wasn't why I'd left my job at TechCore Solutions. Not really. Sarah's expression didn't change. Of course. Family comes first. The 2 men remained silent, their eyes tracking every micro-expression on my face. I felt like a specimen under a microscope. Robert finally spoke, his voice surprisingly gentle. Emily, this position requires a high level of security clearance. Nothing top secret, but we do handle sensitive government data. Contracts with various federal agencies. You understand? Yes, absolutely. Good, he smiled. Then you'll understand why we need to ask some unconventional questions. The air in the room shifted. I couldn't explain how, but it did. Like the temperature dropped 2 degrees, or the walls moved an inch closer. Sarah opened a different folder. This one was thicker. Inside I caught glimpses of documents I didn't recognize. Spreadsheets, maps, photographs of SI. Closed it before I could see more. Ms. Carter, James spoke for the first time. His voice rough like gravel. During your time at TechCore Solutions, you worked on the Neptune project. Is that correct? Every muscle in my body went rigid. Neptune, I hadn't heard that name spoken aloud in 2 years. It had been a routine data analysis contract. Or so I'd thought. We were supposed to be tracking supply chain logistics for a pharmaceutical company. Boring stuff. Medicine shipments, warehouse inventories, delivery routes. But then I'd noticed the anomalies. Shipments going to addresses that didn't exist. Inventory numbers that made no mathematical sense. GPS coordinates that led to empty fields in rural Montana. When I'd brought it to my supervisor, he'd smiled the same kind of smile the receptionist had given me in the lobby and told me not to worry about it. Probably just data entry errors, he'd said. But I'd worried anyway, because that's what I do. I see patterns, and the pattern I was seeing looked wrong. So I dug deeper, and then I'd been fired. Laid off, they'd called it. Budget cuts. They'd given me 3 months severance and made me sign an NDA so thick it could stop a bullet. Now, sitting in this conference room 2 years later, 3 strangers were asking me about Neptune. Yes, I said carefully. I worked on that project. Briefly, what did you think of it? Sarah asked. It was such a simple question. Such a trap. It was a pharmaceutical logistics analysis. Pretty standard stuff, was it? James tilted his head. Standard? My throat felt like sandpaper. I thought so, but you asked questions. Robert's gentle voice again. Not accusatory. Almost sympathetic. You noticed inconsistencies. How did they know that? I did my job, I said slowly. I analyzed the data. When things didn't add up, I reported it to my supervisor. And then you were let go. Sarah stated it as fact, not a question. Yes, how did that make you feel? I blinked. How did it make me feel? Angry, suspicious, curious. What kind of job interview was this? I was confused, I admitted, and yes, maybe a little angry. I thought I was doing good work, but companies downsize. It happens, does it? James leaned back in his chair, his eyes never leaving mine. Or did you see something you weren't supposed to see? My heart hammered against my ribs. I don't understand what you're asking. I think you do. Sarah's voice was still calm, but there was steel underneath now. The Neptune project wasn't about pharmaceuticals. You figured that out, didn't you? I signed an NDA. We're not asking you to violate it. Robert held up his hands. We're simply asking what you suspect, what your gut tells you. Because Emily, your gut is usually right. That's why we're talking to you today. The room felt smaller now. The walls definitely closer. I could hear my own pulse in my ears. Who are you people? The words came out as a whisper. Sarah and Robert exchanged a glance. Some silent communication passed between them. Finally, Sarah reached into her jacket pocket and placed something on the table. A badge, gold, with an eagle and the letters FBI embossed in blue. We're investigators, she said simply. And the Neptune project is part of an ongoing federal investigation. Has been for 3 years. My vision tunneled. The edges of the room went fuzzy. We've been tracking a network, Robert continued. A very sophisticated one. They use legitimate companies as fronts, create fake contracts, move things, money, materials, information through channels that look completely legal on the surface. TechCore Solutions was one of those companies, James added. Most employees had no idea. They thought they were doing normal work. But a few people with sharp eyes and sharper minds, they notice things. Sarah leaned forward again. You noticed, Emily. You asked the right questions. And instead of staying quiet, you reported it. That took courage. It got me fired, I said bitterly. It also put you on our radar. She smiled, and this time it was genuine. You're not here for a job interview. Not really. We need to know what you saw, what you remember, and we need to know if you're willing to help us. The fluorescent lights continued their insect buzz. Somewhere in the building, a phone rang. Normal sounds. Normal world, except nothing was normal anymore. Help you how? Tell us everything you remember about Neptune, Robert said. Every detail, every anomaly. And then, we'd like to offer you a different kind of position. As what? A whistleblower. As a consultant, Sarah corrected. There are other companies, other projects. We have reason to believe the network is still operating, still hiding in plain sight. And we need people who can spot the patterns. People like you. I thought about my apartment, my student loans, my sister's medical bills, the retail job I hated but couldn't afford to leave, and I thought about those spreadsheets, those ghost addresses, those coordinates in Montana that led to empty fields. Or did they? If I say no, then you walk out of here, we never speak again, and you live your life. Sarah's voice was steady. No pressure, no consequences. This conversation never happened, and if I say yes, James finally smiled. It transformed his exhausted face. Then everything changes. I looked down at my hands. They'd stopped shaking. When had that happened? 2 years ago, I'd been fired for asking questions, for seeing things I wasn't supposed to see. I'd spent every day since then second-guessing myself, wondering if I'd been paranoid, wondering if I'd thrown away a good job over nothing. But it hadn't been nothing. And these 3 people sitting across from me, FBI agents, dressed up like corporate recruiters, they knew it too. What was Neptune really about? I asked quietly. Sarah glanced at her colleagues. Some silent threshold had been crossed. They'd decided to trust me. Medical supplies, she said, but not the legal kind. The network was trafficking controlled pharmaceuticals, opioids, mostly, using fake companies and legitimate logistics systems to move them across state lines. Hundreds of thousands of pills, maybe millions. My stomach turned. And I was tracking their shipments. You were. You just didn't know it. How many people died? The question came out before I could stop it. Robert's kind eyes went sad. We don't know yet. That's what we're trying to find out. The weight of it settled over me like a blanket, heavy, suffocating. All those spreadsheets, all those numbers, they weren't abstract data points. They were pills, addictions, overdoses, deaths, and I'd almost let it go, almost convinced myself it didn't matter. I'll help you, I said. The words felt both terrifying and right. Tell me what you need. They kept me in that conference room for 6 hours. I told them everything, every detail I could remember about Neptune. The ghost addresses, the the inventory discrepancies, the delivery routes that made no geographic sense. Robert took notes on a laptop. James recorded everything on a device that looked like it cost more than my car. Sarah just listened, occasionally asking clarifying questions. "Tell us about the Montana coordinates," Sarah said around hour 3. "You mentioned them in your report to your supervisor. Do you remember the exact location?" I closed my eyes, trying to visualize the spreadsheet. I'd looked at it so many times that the numbers were burned into my memory. 47.5791 N 111.0937 WI recited. It was listed as a distribution center, but when I checked it on Google Maps, there was nothing there. Just farmland. James typed something into his tablet. His expression shifted. "That's near Great Falls. There's an industrial complex about 3 miles from those coordinates. Officially, it's a grain storage facility." "Officially," Sarah repeated, her tone suggesting it was anything but. "What else?" Robert asked gently. "Any other locations that stood out?" I told them about the warehouse in Newark that supposedly received shipments every Tuesday but had no employees listed in the business registry. About the Phoenix address that turned out to be a vacant lot. About the pattern I'd noticed in the delivery schedules between 2 and 4 a.m. Always on weekdays, never during holiday weeks. "Someone was being careful," James muttered, "minimizing witnesses, avoiding times when people ask questions." "Did you ever meet anyone from the client company?" Sarah asked. "The pharmaceutical company you thought you were working for?" "No, everything was handled through my supervisor, Marcus Brennan. He said client interactions were above my pay grade." Marcus Brennan. Sarah wrote the name down, though I suspected they already knew it. "Tell us about him." I thought back to my time at Tech. Marcus had been in his late 40s, always impeccably dressed, with the kind of confidence that came from years of climbing corporate ladders. He'd hired me, trained me, brought me coffee during late nights when the whole team was working overtime. He'd also lied to my face for 6 months. He seemed normal, I said slowly. Good at his job. Maybe a little too smooth sometimes, like he was always performing. But I thought that was just corporate culture. Did he ever seem nervous? Stressed? Did his behavior change at all during the time you worked on Neptune? I tried to remember. There was 1 week, maybe a month before I was fired. He came in looking exhausted, snapped at people. He took a lot of personal calls in his office with the door closed, but then it passed and he was back to normal. Sarah and Robert exchanged another look. James made a note. "What?" I asked. "What does that mean?" "There was a complication in the network around that time," Sarah said carefully. "A shipment was intercepted by local police in Ohio. Wrong place, wrong time. Someone made a mistake. The network had to scramble to contain it. Did they? We're still piecing that together. The implications sat heavy in the air. How many crimes had I been unknowingly adjacent to? How many illegal operations had I helped track without understanding what I was really documenting? "I need you to think carefully about this next question," Sarah said. "Did Marcus ever ask you to modify data, to change numbers or remove entries from your reports?" "No, never. He always emphasized accuracy. He said our reputation with clients depended on reliable analysis, but he did review your reports before they were submitted. Always. That was standard procedure." "And did your final reports ever differ from the versions you gave him?" I frowned. I don't know. I never saw the final versions. They went straight to the client. Sarah nodded slowly. So it's possible he was filtering your findings, removing anything to revealing before passing it up the chain. The realization hit me like cold water. I was doing honest work, and he was sanitizing it, making sure I never saw the full picture. Exactly. You were a useful tool, smart enough to do sophisticated analysis, but contained enough that you wouldn't see the whole operation. When you started asking too many questions, you became a liability, so they got rid of me. They tried to, James said. But here you are. And now we know everything you knew, which is more than they thought you'd remember. By the time we finished, the sun was setting. The parking lot was nearly empty. My legs felt like rubber, but something else had changed too. For 2 years, I'd felt small, powerless, like my observations didn't matter, like I didn't matter. Now I knew the truth. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is pay attention. See the patterns. Ask the questions everyone else is afraid to ask. Sarah walked me to my car. The spring air was cool, carrying the smell of rain. What happens now? I asked. We verify everything you told us. Cross-reference it with what we already know. Build a stronger case. She paused at my car door. And then we'll call you. If you're still willing to help. You said something about a consulting position. I did, but I want you to think about it first. Really think about it. This isn't a normal career path, Emily. Once you're in, once you know what you know, you can't unknow it. You'll see these patterns everywhere. In the news, in companies around you. It changes how you look at the world. I thought about Marcus Brennan and his reassuring smile, about the spreadsheets full of death, about 2 years of wondering if I'd been crazy. I'm already changed, I said. I've been seeing patterns for 2 years. I just didn't know what they meant. Now you do. Yeah, now I do. She handed me a business card. Just her name and a phone number. No agency logo, no title. Call me when you're ready. Or don't. Either way, thank you for today. You've given us more than you know. I drove home in a daze. The familiar streets of suburban Philadelphia looked different somehow. Every warehouse we passed could be hiding something. Every delivery truck could be carrying more than it claimed. The ordinary world had cracked open, and I could see the machinery underneath. My apartment felt smaller when I got home. The walls covered in my own notes and theories, the years of trying to make sense of what had happened at TechCore. I'd told myself I was being paranoid, that I needed to let it go. I'd been right all along. They called me 3 days later. Not Sir Robert. We verified your information, he said without preamble. Everything checked out. The Montana facility is being raided as we speak. We've also identified 4 other locations connected to the network. Emily, your memory of those details was remarkable. What did you find in Montana? A pause. I can't give you specifics yet, but let's just say the grain storage facility was storing more than grain. I closed my eyes, relief and horror mixing in equal measure. The consulting position is still on the table, Robert continued. But before you decide, I want you to meet someone. Can you come to the Philadelphia field office tomorrow? Around 2. Who am I meeting? Someone who understands what you're going through. Someone who made the same choice you're about to make. The FBI field office was in Center City, a nondescript building that could have housed any government agency. The lobby was all marble and American flags and security checkpoints that took 20 minutes to clear. Robert met me on the 4th floor. "Thanks for coming. She's waiting in conference room 3. He just smiled and led me down another hallway. The woman sitting in the conference room was maybe 10 years older than me, with dark hair pulled back in a neat bun and eyes that had seen too much. She stood when I entered, extending her hand. "Emily Carter. I've heard a lot about you. I'm Dr. Jennifer Park. I used to be a research analyst at a biotech company in Boston." Used to be. Past tense. We sat across from each other while Robert quietly left, closing the door behind him. "7 years ago," Jennifer began, "I noticed something wrong with a clinical trial my company was running. The data didn't match the reported results. Patients who should have shown improvement were getting worse. But the official reports said everything was fine." My skin prickled. "What did you do?" I asked questions. "Got the same runaround you probably got. Don't worry about it. It's being handled. Focus on your assigned tasks." But I couldn't let it go, so I dug deeper. Found out the company was falsifying trial data to push a drug through FDA approval faster. A drug that wasn't ready. A drug that was dangerous. What happened? I reported it to my supervisor. 2 weeks later, I was fired. They said I'd violated confidentiality protocols, blacklisted me in the industry. I couldn't get another research position anywhere. The story was painfully familiar. "How did you end up working with the FBI?" I didn't. Not at first. I spent a year working as a barista, wondering if I'd destroyed my career for nothing. Then an FBI agent walked into the coffee shop and recognized my name from the case files. They'd been investigating the company for months, but couldn't make sense of the technical data. They needed someone who understood the science. "So you helped them?" I did. And when the case was closed, 15 executives indicted. The drug pulled from development. Potential disaster averted. They offered me a permanent position. Not as an agent, as a consultant. Someone who could translate complex data into evidence. She leaned forward, her expression intense. "Emily, I know what you're feeling right now. The anger, the vindication, the fear of making the same mistake again. The weight of knowing that your choice matters. That people's lives might depend on whether you're brave enough or foolish enough to say yes. How do you live with it?" I asked quietly. "Knowing what you know. Some days are harder than others. I see the worst of what people are capable of when money and power are at stake. I've worked on cases involving human trafficking, weapons smuggling, financial fraud that destroyed entire communities. It's heavy. It stays with you, but I also know that the work matters. Every network we dismantle, every criminal operation we shut down, real people are saved. Real damage is prevented. And I get to use my skills, my training, everything I worked so hard for, in a way that actually makes a difference." She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. A young woman in a graduation gown, smiling widely. "This is Rebecca. 5 years ago, she was hospitalized from an overdose. Pills from the same network you helped uncover. She almost died. But she got treatment, got clean, graduated college last month. She has no idea who I am or what I do. But I know that the work we did, the network we dismantled, means fewer people will end up where she was." My throat tightened. "I'm not going to tell you what to decide," Jennifer said. "This has to be your choice. But I will tell you this. Whatever you choose, you'll wonder about the other path. If you say no, you'll wonder what cases you could have helped solve. If you say yes, you'll wonder what your life would have been like if you'd walked away. There's no perfect answer. What would you do? If you were me? She smiled. I think you already know what you're going to do. You just need permission to do it. I took the job. Not immediately. I went home, thought about it for a week, talked to my sister, stared at my ceiling at 3 in the morning, wondering if I was making a huge mistake. But in the end, I took the job. The salary was better than the retail position. The benefits were government grade, but that wasn't why I said yes. I said yes because somewhere in Montana, in a field that wasn't empty after all, there were answers, and I was going to help find them. The first few months were overwhelming. Security clearances, training protocols, learning to navigate federal databases and interagency communication systems. They gave me an officer, small cubicle, really in the corner of the Economic Crimes Unit. My official title was Forensic Data Consultant. My actual job was to spot the patterns that computers couldn't find and humans usually missed. I worked on the Neptune case for another 4 months, piecing together the full network, following the money through shell corporations and offshore accounts, mapping distribution channels across 17 states. We identified 47 front companies, hundreds of individuals involved at various levels. Most of them had no idea what they were really part of. Like me at TechCore, they thought they were doing legitimate work, but some knew, the Marcus Brennans of the world. They knew exactly what they were doing. His arrest was quietly satisfying. I watched from the office as Sarah and a team of agents executed the warrant. Marcus in handcuffs, being led out of the TechCore building while his former colleagues watched in confusion. I'd wondered how I'd feel seeing it. Expected anger or triumph or vindication. Mostly, I just felt sad. Sad for the waste of it all. The talent and intelligence and resources poured into destroying lives for profit. 6 months into the job, Sarah assigned me to a new case. Small tech startup in Austin, she explained, sliding a folder across her desk. They've got a government contract for cybersecurity services. Everything looks clean on the surface, but there's been unusual activity in their financial records. Payments to vendors that don't seem to exist. Projects that appear and disappear from budgets. I opened the folder. The company was called Vertex Solutions. The CEO smiled up at me from a professional headshot, looking confident and trustworthy, just like Marcus had. What do you need from me? Deep dive into their contracts, their vendor relationships, their data architecture. See if you spot any patterns, any anomalies, anything that feels wrong. I spent 3 weeks buried in Vertex's records, and slowly the pattern emerged. They weren't trafficking drugs. This was different, more sophisticated. They were stealing data-classified government information and selling it to foreign buyers through an elaborate network of cutouts and intermediaries. The cybersecurity contract was perfect cover. They had legitimate access to sensitive systems, and they were using that access to extract everything they could. When I presented my findings to Sarah, her expression was grim. This is bigger than we thought. If you're right, and I think you are, this is a major national security breach. How many other contracts do they have? 17 across multiple agencies. The implications were staggering. We have to shut them down. We will. But we have to be careful. If they know we're onto them, they'll destroy evidence and disappear. We need to gather everything first. Build an airtight case. It took another 2 months. 2 months of meticulous documentation, of following digital trails through layers of encryption and misdirection. 2 months of wondering if they'd notice someone was paying too much attention. But we did it, the day of the raids. I watched from the FBI field office as simultaneous operations executed across 4 cities. The CEO, the CTO, 8 other executives all arrested within the same hour. Servers seized. Bank accounts frozen. The entire operation rolled up in a single coordinated strike, and this time I felt it. The weight and the rightness of it. The knowledge that the pattern I'd seen, the questions I'd asked, had led to something real. That was 3 years ago. I've worked on 19 cases since then. Not all of them end in arrests. Some investigations stall out, evidence proving insufficient or witnesses backing away. Some networks are too decentralized to fully dismantle. The bad guys don't always lose, but we keep working, keep looking, keep asking questions. Jennifer was right about one thing. It changes how you see the world. I can't walk through a shopping mall or scroll through news articles or have a normal conversation without part of my brain analyzing patterns, looking for the hidden machinery underneath the ordinary surface. Sometimes I miss the simplicity of my old life, when I could buy something without wondering about the supply chain, when I could read about a corporate merger without questioning the real motivations, when I didn't know how easily evil can hide behind spreadsheets and professional smiles. But most days, I know I made the right choice. Last week, I got an email from a young analyst at a tech company in Seattle. She'd found my name in an industry forum. She had questions about a project she was working on. Supply chain data that didn't make sense. Her supervisor telling her not to worry about it. I read her message 3 times. The pattern was familiar, too familiar. Then I picked up the phone and called Sarah. "We might have another one," I said, "because that's what I do now. I pay attention. I see the patterns. And when something looks wrong, I ask questions, even when it's easier not to. Especially then."